My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. And sir, what is your name?
Bobby Travis.
Okay, Mr. Travis. And I believe we have your daughter here today. And what is your name, miss?
Morgan Dallas.
Morgan Dallas. Okay, and I have my students with me. I've got Ronisha, I've got Jacoby, and I also have Amari. And so, sir, where were you born?
I was born in Newport, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. What branch of the service did you go
The
into?
United States Army.
And what year was that?
It was in June, it was 1980.
Okay. How long did you serve?
3 years.
What was your rank when you got out?
PFC, private first class.
Okay. All right. And what were you doing prior to going to the service?
I was in high school. I was in delayed entry.
And where was that?
Newport, Arkansas.
Okay. All right. All right. And where do you currently live?
Right now, I live on one of my sailboats.
Okay. What city?
It's in, what is that?
Riviera.
Riviera Beach, sir.
Okay. Good if I turn that on. All right. Beautiful. Your turn. Go ahead. Were you drafted or enlisted?
Were you drafted or enlisted?
I was enlisted.
And where were you living at the time?
Newport, Arkansas.
Okay. Why did you pick the service, the branch you did?
Well, basically, I was in a band, and they came to me with a military band playing in the auditorium. And after they got done performance, they asked us to who would like to audition to be in the United States Army Band. So I did, and I made it.
Okay. Can you tell us about your boot camp training experiences?
Yeah, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I was in Whiskey Company, and it was unique. It was a rude awakening. We got there, we went in on, I call it a horse trailer. We went in on a horse trailer, a cow trailer, and once we hit the ground, there was a lot of yelling, hooping, and hollering, and we just had to separate ourselves from all our personal belongings and line up the best way we know how, and waited for instruction then. It was very nervous.
Do you remember any of your instructors you had?
Yes, Sergeant Whiskey. Whiskey Company was what we are, so I call him Sergeant Whiskey. And he was very hard. He was a hard person. You know, he sings a lot. You know, so I can still hear the cadence in my head that he made us always march them.
To touch on a little bit of your experiences during that time, where exactly did you go, and what was your job assignment?
Well, I had a few of them. Once I finished boot camp in South Carolina, they sent me over to Virginia, and it was Little Creek, Virginia, which was a Navy amphibious base where we did music 24/7. We did the parades, we did the funerals, we were taught how to really play and basically wake up people in the morning with a reveille and a whole 9 yards. We was actually musicians 24/7. And then once I got tired of that, I tried another MOS, which was second level cavalry, which was a artillery.
So you were a musician in the service?
Yes, sir.
Initially?
Yes, I was.
Was that your AIT?
Yes, it was.
Okay. What was it called?
It was a Navy amphibious base where we were just musicians. We traveled. We did different parades and funerals and marches.
Nice. And what was the second?
It was a 76 Yankee.
Okay. Where was your first duty base after you got out of basic training? And by the way, where did you go to AIT school?
Well, the AIT was the Navy amphibious base, Little Creek, Virginia.
Okay. What state?
Virginia.
Okay.
And my first base, or the first base I hit was Bad Kissing in Germany. And that was the 2nd 11th Cavalry.
How long were you stationed there?
Ooh, a year and a half.
How long was basic training?
It was like 6 months.
6 months? Okay, and then, so you did your AIT, the whole thing combined, basic and AIT?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so the next place you went was Germany?
Germany.
And how long was that tour?
A year and a half.
Okay.
Did you see any combat, or were there any casualties in your unit?
No, in Germany I didn't see any combat. We just patrolled the borders, and that was it.
Did anybody get hurt in basic or AIT?
Oh yes, we had a lot of different accidents there. Some got ran over by some of the PCs or the tanks, and we had a lot of different. 2 or 3 people I know exactly did suicide while we were there.
Wow. How did that affect you and or people around you?
Well, we were all close, very close, and we played cards together. We went out on bivouac together, and one in particular guy, he was driving one of the trucks, and he just had some beer under his thing. He wasn't drinking, we just had it. So when his truck overturned in Back Kissimmee, they searched it and they found that. So they put him on extra duty, and they was threatening him a whole lot. And he just couldn't take it, so they put him on guard duty, Upper Harstad, which was guarding tanks, and M16 loaded, and so he just put it up under him and let it go.
Okay.
What can you tell us about life in the service, like how you stayed in touch with your family or pressure or anything?
No, and life in the service was good. I mean, we got paid good. We have a chance to see the world. There was no hang-ups, no hiccups. You just got up, you did your PT, and you reported to your job assignment, and the rest of the day was yours. So we had a lot of exposures, a lot of different nationalities, a lot of things that you didn't have when you were at home or in the United States. It was just lovely. I mean, you got to see real castles, real snow, things you only read about.
Are there any memories, like any real specific memories that are stuck with you, good or bad?
Well, there's a lot of different memories, like basic training, memory of actually doing things I thought I couldn't do. Once I reached my AIT dealing with being a musician, a lot of things I heard that I began to learn more about music theory. When I made it over to Germany, where I got into the artillery, I learned how to respect the country I was in and the different culture that they had. And over there, Christmas was Christmas. The holidays were like you've seen in postcards.
Was that your only duty station in Germany?
Yes, it was.
Okay, where did you go after that?
After that, that's where I actually left out of. Right.
Okay, so that was okay, fine.
That was it.
Did you have any problem the entire time you were in the service maintaining communication with your family?
Oh no, that was pick up a phone, dial, collect, pay, whatever you need. You have no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
I mean,
did you go on the economy? What base were you at?
I was in Bad Kissimmee.
Where was that?
It was in Germany.
How far from Frankfurt or?
Maybe, I don't know exactly, but it wasn't far from at all from
Frankfurt, Maine?
That's where we first flew into. Frankfurt.
Was it up in the mountains or?
No, it wasn't in the mountains at all.
Okay. Did you travel around Europe while you were there?
Oh yeah, I went to Grafenwehr, Humminberg. I can't pronounce the word, but we did a lot of karate and we did those things there. So
martial arts?
Martial arts there.
Okay.
And so Heidelberg and Grafenwehr, which I just mentioned, and a few other towns I just can't remember, but we got on the train and we just went.
Okay. Did you go outside of Germany?
No, I did not.
Not at all? No? Okay. Did you go home on leave back to the States while you were there?
I was always there.
Okay. So, when you separated, what was your plan? When you started thinking about separating, when you got, close to the time when you're gonna, separate from the military, what were your thoughts?
Well, basically, I had more knowledge of not being in a hurry because I got to see everything I dreamed about. And so when I came back, I started my own little karate academy, little photography studios. I just had a whole bunch of ideas that I wanted to get off into. And I was just wide open.
Okay. Okay, so when you came home, what did you do? And by the way, did you use your GI Bill for anything?
No, sir.
No? So what did you do when you came home?
I basically came home and we got into the music field. We started a music studio with my nephew and brought him in. We just started doing a lot of recordings and just basically made a little money just in that all.
What about medals and citations, by the way, from the service?
No, sir.
No? Okay, so tell me about what you did. Keep going about your life after the service.
Well, my life after service, we had a group called the Heavenly Wonders, and we traveled in the churches. We performed in a lot of the churches. I left there, and then I went into working in the prison system in Joliet, Illinois. I met a lot of people there in the prison system that I learned more about your freedom. Then I became a bounty hunter. And then from there I went in Chicago. I trained the Guardian Angels, which patrol subways and things like that. And then once I left that, I came back and became a bounty hunter, and then I started playing golf.
Very interesting. Well, I'm just curious. Did you interact with? I guess you did interact a great deal with law enforcement then.
Yes, I did.
Right. Okay. And did you ever have any negative altercations with law enforcement?
Well, being a bounty hunter, we had a few because basically we wasn't the police, but Tanner versus Tanner said that we could carry unusual weapons across state lines and did have more power than they did. So we had, I'll say 40-60. The 60 was the good, the 40 was not really cooperative, but we just let them know we were there and went on from there.
Okay. All right. Oh, how was the food while you were in the service?
Oh, great. I mean,
All
best. Even when you were in the field or out there, the food came to you hot, especially if I was in 76 Yankee on a supply unit. They had it. It was nice.
Okay. So besides places that you've already mentioned, where else have you traveled inside and outside the service? Besides places that you've already mentioned.
Well, like I said, Chicago, Kansas City, Kansas, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Massachusetts, Virginia, Flagstaff, Albuquerque. That's pretty
New
Mississippi.
Mexico. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And then of course Florida.
All right. So, maintain any friendships from the military, by the way?
Yes.
Are you still in touch with those
Yes, I
people?
am. Yes.
Okay. What year did you separate again?
80.
Oh, in 80.
83 when I
83?
went in. 80 when I went in. 83 when I
That's
said
30 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. So, okay, good. How did you get along with officers and enlisted?
Well, we knew the difference.
Mhm.
You know, they made sure we knew the difference, and we communicated. And when you got out of line, you know, you got put back in line. And at first, being young coming in, it was a hard pill to swallow. But on the situation that you were in, you were, how you said, remembered your home training, so it was worth it.
And did you have any altercations as far as racism is concerned?
I didn't run across any at all.
So you were good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good for you. Pick it up.
How did your service and experiences affect your life
There you go.
up to now, today?
Made me understand more about how we were free. It made me understand respecting others, that I was more humble because you never know what another person's thinking. In other words, I valued their thoughts. It made me appreciate everything my mother, my father, the whole school system in Newport, Arkansas was teaching us that it's going to be a different world out here. So it made me appreciate every bit of life.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that we didn't ask you about?
Well, the other thing that we need to know about is where'd you get all of your self-motivation from? Because it sounds like you pretty much have been pretty busy entrepreneur when you left the service.
Well, my motivation came from home, Newport, Arkansas. Everybody there was motivated. Everybody there was doing things, fishing. The whole neighborhoods really raised us. You know, it just didn't stop at mama, father, grandfather. Even when it got to the schools and the principals and all the coaches. So Arkansas pretty much was well-rounded. When we hit the ground, we went out there knowing pretty much the right things to do, and we were just on fire to do it.
What year did you get married while you were in the service?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you have to come home to do that, or you married overseas, or?
I came home, and once I came home, I actually married her then. And
Okay, so tell me about your golfing career. And I see you have one of your apprentices here with you. That's your daughter.
Well, my golfing career started in Florence, Alabama. I was dealing with horses, and someone commented, "You don't know anything about golf. This is just for us," which was a racial thing. So I picked up a pair of golf clubs, cheap Northwesterns from Kmart back then, and I didn't know certain golf courses that I could go to.
What year was that?
I can't remember the year.
80?
It was after 80.
After 80, go ahead.
And so when I went out there, I was just tearing up the greens, just trying to drive and really messing up the greens. And someone came and snatched my club and said a nice, colorful word with me. He goes, "Blank, what are you doing out here?" And I said, "Sir, I'm trying to learn how to play golf." Snatched my club and said, "Golf's a woman's game, let me show you." So military taught me how to be humble. So basically he was teaching me. All I had to do was listen. And so once I was listening, I was picking up things he wasn't showing me. So I went on until I started hanging out with the pros. That's when I learned more and more. So it really taught me how to be humble, listen to what's taught, and old saying about the Bible, he will bring you your enemy and make your footstool. All you have to do is pick up on that. And I started playing a lot of pickup games, and I developed a one-hand putting. You know, everybody was hitting with two hands or putting, and my one-hand putting is really what got me where I am today, because I can focus more, I can concentrate. It's more like an art, you know, like playing music. You just have to just roll with the green. And I started playing pickup games everywhere. Everywhere there was a golf ball to hit, I was trying to hit it.
What does that term mean, pickup game?
Well, basically gambling, scrambles, different tournaments, charity events.
And how many different places around the world have you played golf?
A lot of places. I mean, a lot of courses. A lot of courses I don't even remember. A lot in Florida. A lot Robert Trent Jones in Alabama. Pigeon Forge. Like I said, Flagstaff. Phoenix, Arizona. Albuquerque. Beverly Ann Pierce course at Huntsville, Alabama. Some of the Tennessee courses.
Okay. Have you ever played overseas?
No, sir.
Okay.
Now the Army bases, all military bases have great golf courses. I played on a few of those. I mean, that's the lick right there.
So I need to ask you again, now that you mentioned that, you picked up golf before you left the service?
No, actually, I seen a few of them, but golf wasn't on my mind in the service. I was mainly off into photography while I was there. Also, that's really what I was into before. Golf wasn't there. There was a lot of, golf courses there. And only when I left, I started going to the courses that I actually seen on some of the bases.
Okay. So, okay, you're saying golf courses, but I'm just curious, how did you get your daughter into golf?
Well, we was playing at
That was Jupiter Dunes.
in Jupiter Dunes, and I needed a partner. And so I just told her to grab a club. She had to come out there with us, and we carried her. We finished pretty decent, and that's how she got off into it. Just started right from the top with us. And then I just started seeing her interest, and then I just started drilling her every day. Every day was at a course, playing everywhere.
Okay, so so after the service, you got into golf and you played on military bases. Golf.
Oh yeah, I went to a lot of military bases. I'm trying to think of a few. A lot of them in Alabama. Some of them was in Florida. I'm trying to think of. They basically was all in Alabama. Those courses there.
Okay.
Here in Florida.
Okay. So as far as I heard what you said earlier about the effect that the military's had on your life. So how did your service and experiences affect your life? And is there, well, no, wait a minute. What I really need to know is, did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes, it did, because over there, like I said, it was like a family there. When I got here, I started seeing all different types of controversy. and how certain people that did come back was treated differently, you know. And watching people, how they react, and when you go places that, you know, you're a veteran or participated in the military, they didn't really treat you any different, you know, like we were special, but they like no discount or, you know, making us wait in certain places. But I have been in places where even children said, thank you for your service and things like that. But it was back and forth, up and down type of attitude that I had. And that's why I tried to instill upon her is about this country. You know, a lot of people fought and died so she and others can just be free. And not understanding the history is really what I'm being out of shape on, because they really don't know the exact facts about it. You know, what really made them who they are. So never take it for granted. I mean, I drill her every day. Every day we at neck to neck with each other, letting her know, hey, you out here because of, you know, you're doing this because of it. You just wasn't born with a spoon in your mouth. Somebody had to die for you to be able to sit, walk in there, sit out here on these boats, go into these different golf courses. Somebody had to die for that. Literally.
So I work with a lot of students, and that was great advice that you just gave, as a matter of fact. Anything additional that you'd like to say to young people about the military or being motivated?
Well,
multitasking, I believe, as you have done in your life, what it sounds like.
well, what I like to tell kids, I was gonna let my daughter say that to what she learned, that she can actually, if I could.
I'd like, well, go ahead.
Tell them as a child, what have you learned, period, that I could give you advice.
Morgan, how old are you now?
22.
Okay, and please share your experience that your dad has taught you.
I'd say the importance of respect, being kind and loving to people, being secure in yourself, securing your education, and genuinely learning things that will set you apart and make you successful. To not take anything for granted. You know, these days a lot of societal norms is to not really care about people and be all about self and money and things of that nature, but it's very important to be well-rounded and just have a loving spirit. I think that's number one. That's the most important thing that I learned.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I think the military is a very good entry point to life. You get out there, you get what you ask for, you get training, and it makes you a whole. It really secures you in knowing a lot of things that you didn't know. And to me, that's the best way to go to be well-rounded, go to the military.
Okay, well, now I'll ask you. You have the final question.
That was the final question. If there was anything else you wanted to add, but
Anything else that you'd like to share?
No, sir.
You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I would really like to thank you for a wonderful interview, and I'd like to also thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure.